They came from hustle and built empires the world can't ignore. From oil tycoons in Nigeria to entertainment moguls in Hollywood, these black families have turned generational ambition into billion-dollar dynasties. Here is the richest black family in the world. Number 15, the Will Smith family. Few families in Hollywood have turned fame into generational influence like the Smiths. You see, Will Smith was never just famous, he was a walking blockbuster. By 2023, his movies had pulled in over $9.3 billion worldwide. From punching aliens in Independence Day to making us ugly cry in
Maybe I'll just leave this here with you.
The Pursuit of Happiness, Will's range is staggering. With a net worth of around $375 million, it's clear he owns the court. Of course, Jada Pinkett Smith is every bit the powerhouse herself. Before the red table was even a thing, she was lighting up screens in cult hits like Menace to Society and Set It Off. Add in Jada's own estimated net worth of $50 million, and you're looking at a household where even the side tables are lightly insured. Jada wasn't just an actress, though. She was a producer, a musician, a memoirist, and the fearless host of Red Table Talk. However, the story of the Smith family doesn't end there. It also extends to the kids. You see, Jaden marched to his own beat from day one, dropping music that bends genres.
I'm just an icon living.
Meanwhile, Willow became a famous musician and has amassed quite a following. However, behind the glitz is something deeper: purpose. From youth education to environmental projects, the Smiths donated millions. When you've got this much money, the only thing left to buy is change, and the Smiths are doing just that. Their foundation has backed everything from clean water in Flint to art programs in underserved schools. With wealth, purpose, and cultural impact spanning generations, the Smiths are a shining example of how black families can build not just fame, but legacy-level wealth. Just as the Smiths redefined Hollywood royalty, the ONeals proved that being a baller was only the beginning of building a fortune. Number 14, the ONeal family. A four-time NBA champion, Hall of Famer, and household name, Shaq leveraged his fame into an empire. With a net worth pushing $500 million, Shaq has collected businesses, cars, and real estate like a boss with something to prove. That's 500 million reasons to never check a price tag again. When you're worth 500 million, even your garage needs its own zip code. One of his crown jewels is a custom Ferrari 355 F1 Spider, remodeled to fit his towering frame. Shaq also owns a Lamborghini Gallardo, a super-stretched Chevy Express G500 van, a tricked-out Cadillac Escalade, and not one, not two, but 3 Bentleys. Why 3? Because as the story goes, when a dealer once questioned whether he could afford one, Shaq dropped $1 million in 10 minutes, buying all 3 just to make a point. You best believe the message was well received. At that level of wealth, a flex isn't just expected, it's built into the brand. Shaq's taste for luxury rolls just as deep in real estate. Back in the 90s, he snagged a 31,000 square foot palace in Florida's elite Isleworth community. Nicknamed Shaqapulco, the mansion came complete with a 17-car garage, indoor basketball court, and a sprawling pool. He later added a 12,000 square foot mansion in Atlanta. Of course, behind the fame is a sharp investor and brand genius. From owning hundreds of Five Guys, Auntie Anne's, and Papa John's franchises, to holding equity in companies like Ring, Google, and Reebok, he's built a portfolio that's as diversified as it is profitable. This isn't just a celebrity dabbling in deals. Shaq is a full-fledged corporate empire in size 22 shoes. While Shaq turned slam dunks into business deals and Bentleys, another person here built her fortune drilling deep into Nigeria's oil reserves. Number 13, Folarin Alakija. Folarin Alakija is a Nigerian powerhouse who went from fashion designer to oil tycoon and held the title of Africa's richest woman for years. Today, Alakija's net worth sits around $1 billion, but back in 2014, her fortune was valued as high as $3.3 billion by Time, thanks to oil booms and major asset hikes. At her peak, she was richer than Oprah. Now, her golden goose was ONeal 127, a deep-water oil block in Nigeria's Agbami field, handed to her company Famfa Oil in 1993. Even after legal wrangling with the government, Alakija retained a massive 60% stake. That one block pumped hundreds of thousands of barrels a day at its peak and helped secure her spot among the global elite. However, Alakija wasn't new to success. She first made waves in fashion. launching Supreme Stitches and styling Nigeria's high society long before she struck oil. With that kind of money, her lifestyle reads like a billionaire starter pack. Alakija's spending habits are as headline-worthy as her earnings. She owns a $46 million private jet, a $100 million London mansion, and even paid for a wedding for her son that cost a reported $10 million. Everything she touches turns into headline-making luxury. Still, she gives back in a big way. Her Rose of Sharon Foundation helps widows and orphans across Nigeria with scholarships, housing, and business grants. She's poured money into education, healthcare, and skill centers, all rooted in her strong Christian faith. Bottom line, Alakija became one of the richest black women in the world by turning opportunity into generational power and by holding onto it with both hands. Now, as Alakija carved her path through oil fields and couture with divine purpose, LeBron James rose through hardwood courts and Hollywood boardrooms. Number 12. The James family. For over 2 decades, LeBron James has been the face of basketball. He's not only a 4-time NBA champion, but he is also a billion-dollar enterprise operating in real time. With a net worth of $1.1 billion, LeBron's story is about more than sports. His $49 million NBA salary is just the start. To put this into perspective, that's only a fraction of his overall wealth. His real wealth is built off the court, with deals, media ventures, and a lifetime partnership with Nike. Of course, his lifestyle reflects the empire he's built. In Los Angeles, he owns a sleek $52 million mansion spanning 15,000 square feet. Back in Akron, he holds onto a 30,000 square foot estate, which is a tribute to where everything began. Peek into his garage, and it's a collector's dream. A $670,000 Lamborghini Aventador, customized to match his shoes, a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and a Ferrari 458 Spider. His asset portfolio is as calculated as his gameplay, with sports cars, media rights, and equity deals. It's safe to say LeBron's business mind has always been sharp. Through Spring Hill Entertainment, he's stepped into Hollywood, producing shows and films that spotlight culture, community, and real conversations. So let's get this straight. This family isn't just celebrity rich, it's Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and Hollywood rich. None of this happens alone, though. By his side is Savannah James, his high school sweetheart, his partner, and a force in her own right. Known for her poise and purpose, Savannah has helped shape the family's image. Strong, polished, private, and powerful. Together, they're quietly structuring a multi-generational wealth model built on branding, ownership, and philanthropy. LeBron James redefined what it means to be a billionaire athlete in real time. However, before LeBron turned sneakers into stock options and film credits, Magic Johnson had already cracked the code. Number 11. Magic Johnson's family. Who knew that the same man who dazzled the NBA with no-look passes would become a full-blown billionaire mogul? As of 2025, Magic is now worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 billion. That puts him among the top-earning black businessmen in America. What's even more impressive is that nearly every dollar was made after he walked off the hardwood. Now, you'd think it was those Lakers checks that built his empire, but you'd be wrong. Magic actually made just $40 million during his 13-year career. His biggest move was snagging a 60% stake in Equitrust Life Insurance, which exploded from $16 billion to $27 billion in assets under his watch. That deal alone put him in another league entirely. However, Magic's not just pushing paper. He's a minority owner in 4 major sports teams: the Dodgers, Sparks, LAFC, and the NFL's Washington Commanders. Oh, and yes, his teams win. Let's be real. Few individuals, black or otherwise, have ownership stakes in that many professional teams. The Dodgers took home World Series trophies in 2020 and 2024. Beyond sports, his Magic Johnson Enterprises has touched just about everything: Starbucks, 24-hour fitness, Pepsi, TGI Fridays, and $1 billion in urban real estate investments. Magic mastered the model: take capital, reinvest it with purpose, and multiply it through scale. That's why his wealth keeps multiplying on such crazy levels even today. He's building wealth and uplifting underserved communities while he's at it. Of course, he enjoys the finer things too, but when COVID hit, Magic stepped up by backing $100 million in loans for minority and women-owned businesses.
And wanted us to come together and do something fantastic for minority firms across the country and women-owned businesses. So my company, Equitrust, we put up $100 million.
Magic turned smart plays into sports and corporate dominance. However, the next name on this list didn't climb the ladder. He built his own. Number 10. The Perry family. Born into trauma, raised in poverty, and scarred by abuse, Tyler Perry had every reason to break down. Instead, he poured his pain into plays, hustling ticket sales out of his car and sleeping in motels when shows flopped. He failed, again and again, but he didn't stop. When Medea, a no-nonsense grandmother in a wig and a housecoat, stormed onto the stage, the world finally saw what he saw, a voice that couldn't be ignored. Medea became a cultural icon. However, Perry's genius ran deeper than a single character. He created universes by writing, producing, directing, and often starring in every project himself. From Diary of a Mad Black Woman to A Fall from Grace, he built a brand from the ground up. He didn't wait for Hollywood to let him in. He built a billion-dollar backlot of his own. By 2025, Tyler Perry's empire was worth $1.4 billion. He's one of the very few Black Americans to own 100% of everything he creates, from scripts to studios to syndication rights. That ownership model has paid off in hundreds of millions in licensing revenue and long-term back-end deals. However, his real wealth lies in what he gives. Perry owns Tyler Perry Studios, a 330-acre film compound in Atlanta, larger than Disney, Warner Brothers, and Paramount combined. No one can even begin to imagine how much money went into this project. It sits on a former Confederate Army base. However, his reach goes beyond Hollywood. Through the Tyler Perry Foundation, he's helped feed families, rebuild homes, pay off strangers' grocery bills, and even cover funeral costs. His support for organizations like Feeding America and the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People has been monumental. While Perry redefined Hollywood ownership with a studio bigger than the legacy giants, Rihanna was busy conquering an entirely different empire. Number 9. Rihanna's family. Rihanna didn't just shine bright like a diamond, she built an empire from it. As of April 2025, the Barbadian mogul boasts a net worth of $1.4 billion, putting her squarely in the elite club of self-made female billionaires. What makes her wealth even more jaw-dropping is that she built it without a major tour in nearly a decade. However, while hits like Umbrella and We Found Love made her a global pop icon, her real bag came from beauty, or should we say Fenty Beauty, her groundbreaking makeup brand. With inclusive shades and culture-shaking campaigns, Fenty is now worth a jaw-dropping $2.8 billion. Rihanna holds a 50% stake, which makes up the lion's share of her fortune. That single stake alone is enough to put her in billionaire territory before counting anything else. Add in her 28% stake in Savage x Fenty, a lingerie line valued at $1 billion, and the fashion sleigh continues. She lives large too, splitting time between a $13.8 million Beverly Hills mansion with ASAP Rocky and their 2 kids, plus luxe homes in Barbados, London, and New York City. Her garage is just as glam with a Lamborghini Aventador, Maybach 575, and Porsche 911 Turbo S. Even her lifestyle choices reflect billionaire precision. Amidst all of this, Rihanna has made one thing clear: she always wants to give back. Through the Clara Lionel Foundation, Rihanna has funneled over $33 million into COVID-19 relief, cancer research, domestic violence shelters, and climate action. Her grassroots-first approach powers real change for women, youth, and underserved communities globally. Now, if Rihanna proved a woman could rewrite the rules of beauty and business, then the Carters showed what happens when 2 titans collide. Number 8. The Carter family. When it comes to power couples, no one does it like the Carters. With a net worth soaring past $2.5 billion, Jay-Z has become something else entirely. He's built empires filled with music labels, luxury champagne brands, streaming services, and stakes in everything from Uber to fine art. However, even billionaires can meet their match, and for Jay-Z, that match came in the form of global icon Beyoncé Knowles Carter. With a net worth of $540 million, Beyoncé is shaping culture itself. Together, it's clear Jay-Z and Beyoncé have surpassed being just artists. Even their real estate portfolio is straight out of a billionaire's dream book. They have a $200 million architectural marvel in California, which is reportedly the most expensive home ever sold in the state. An $88 million Bel Air mansion, and many other homes in the Hamptons, Tribeca, and Malibu. At the end of the day, though, it's not just where they live, but how. Their cars are pure indulgence. The $2 million Bugatti Veyron Grand Sport was once gifted to Jay by Beyoncé. They even have a Maybach Exelero, a Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, and a Bentley Continental GT. Their wealth is so diversified, even their gifts make headlines in financial papers. Still, the flash isn't the foundation for this couple. Beyoncé also built Parkwood Entertainment and inked multi-million-dollar deals with Pepsi, H&M, and L'Oreal. The Carters have proven you can dominate Wall Street, streaming charts, red carpets, and boardrooms simultaneously, all while living the most lavish life anyone can think of. The Carters may dominate music and luxury, but let's not forget one name that redefined media altogether: Oprah Winfrey. Number 7. The Winfrey family. She grew up wearing dresses made from potato sacks. Now she owns homes worth more than some nations' GDP and commands a net worth of $3.5 billion. Born in rural Mississippi in 1954, Oprah rose from a childhood marked by poverty and trauma to build a billion-dollar empire. By the time The Oprah Winfrey Show premiered in 1986, Oprah had become a household name. For 25 years, her show became a cultural cornerstone, watched by millions who saw her as someone they trusted with their deepest thoughts. However, her reach has also gone as far as politics. Oprah's 2008 endorsements of Barack Obama are credited with giving his campaign a powerful push at a pivotal moment. Today, with a net worth of $3.5 billion, Oprah is more than a media mogul. She owns a significant stake in Weight Watchers, helped launch Oprah Daily, and teamed up with Apple TV Plus for exclusive content deals. Imagine having so much money that you can practically buy anyone out of any deal. Money alone doesn't tell the whole story, though. From rebuilding homes after Hurricane Katrina to providing aid across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, her charity has shown up when people needed it most. Through her Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation, she's donated more than $400 million and helped educate over 72,000 people. Oprah reimagined what power looks like in media, but the next name on this list turned the competitive fire into cultural dominance. Number 6. The Jordan family. With 6 NBA championships and 5 MVP awards, Michael Jordan sits on a staggering net worth of $3.5 billion. A big part of that fortune came not from NBA salaries, though, but from iconic branding and a deal that changed sports forever. So what was that deal exactly? It was none other than Nike. You see, in the mid-1980s, Jordan partnered with the brand to create something new: Air Jordan. Today, it's a multi-billion-dollar brand that still dominates shoe sales. Add to that deals with Gatorade, Hanes, and more, and Jordan didn't just walk into endorsements, he set new rules for how they're done in this sport. For this guy, life at home is just as grand. Jordan's family splits their time between several jaw-dropping homes: 2 private estates in North Carolina and a 28-square-foot luxury palace in Florida. Plus, his car game is exactly what you'd expect. We're talking a Ferrari 488 Pista Spider worth $829,000, a rare Bugatti Veyron Sang Noir valued at $2.2 million, and a Mercedes McLaren SLR to round it all out. Jordan also owns multiple yachts. In the end, Jordan turned a jump shot into a global licensing empire and redefined how athletes build wealth across generations. He was the face on the billboard, but also the name on the stock certificate. While Michael Jordan turned his name into a brand and his brand into a billion-dollar empire, Patrice Motsepe took a different route, one that was quiet, calculated, and underground, quite literally. Number 5. Patrice Motsepe's family. Patrice Motsepe, founder of African Rainbow Minerals, has seen his fortune swell to almost $3.4 billion. How? Mining stocks are back, and ARM is leading the rally on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Motsepe, who owns nearly 46% of ARM, pocketed $25.4 million in dividends in April 2025. Motsepe also holds an 11.8% stake in Harmony Gold, with operations stretching from South Africa to Australia. That stake helped spark a $300 million boost earlier this year. Still, it's his tech plays that are turning him into a next-gen billionaire to watch. Through African Rainbow Capital, Motsepe took a bold bet on Time Group, a digital banking startup now valued at $1.5 billion. His 40% indirect stake is worth a cool $600 million, thanks to a blockbuster Series D round in December 2024. Motsepe's indirect 40% stake is now making him one of Africa's most quietly powerful tech investors. However, what truly sets Motsepe apart is how he's chosen to deploy his wealth. In 2013, he became the first African to sign the Giving Pledge, committing to donate at least half of his fortune to charitable causes. Through the Motsepe Foundation, he has funneled millions into education, healthcare, and rural development across South Africa. He's also a sports powerhouse, owning Mamelodi Sundowns, one of the country's top football clubs, and currently serving as the president of the Confederation of African Football. Motsepe may have reshaped Africa's mining and philanthropy landscape, But next up is the man who built a telecom empire from the streets of Lagos to the shores of London. Number 4. Mohammed Hussein Alamoodi's family. You won't catch Mohammed Hussein Alamoodi splashing headlines with yachts or diamond-studded parties. Behind the scenes, though, he quietly controls billions and entire industries, from Africa to Scandinavia. Born in Desi, Ethiopia in 1946, Alamoodi has amassed a fortune of $10.3 billion, making him Ethiopia's richest man. His empire began in construction and real estate in Saudi Arabia before expanding across continents into oil, agriculture, mining, and infrastructure. Today, he controls Preem, Sweden's largest oil refinery, along with stakes in Svenska Petroleum, Midrock Gold, Okute Gold, and Naft Services. What makes Alamoodi different, though, is how he uses his billions. Instead of palaces and parties, he's buying 5-star influence in agriculture, education, and national development. Rather than lavish luxuries, he channels wealth into long-term investments. His agricultural arm, Saudi Star, manages up to 500,000 hectares in Ethiopia, producing sugar, rice, and edible oils using cutting-edge equipment. His impact extends to Unity University, numerous hospitals, a library at Addis Ababa University, and sports complexes across Ethiopia. He also funds infrastructure quietly like roads, stadiums, and clinics. Not to mention he has given aid during droughts in Ethiopia. A key philanthropist, he invests in education, healthcare, and economic development across the Horn of Africa and the Middle East. Despite a brief 2017 detainment during Saudi Arabia's anti-corruption purge, Alamoodi returned to the helm of his empire uncharged, unbothered, and more influential than ever. Living between London, Surrey, and Saudi Arabia, his life remains private. There's no doubt Alamoodi's legacy is written in infrastructure and quiet power. When it comes to rewriting the rules of modern wealth, though, no one did it quite like Robert F. Smith. Number 3. The Robert F. Smith family. In the world of billion-dollar deals, Robert F. Smith moves like a kingmaker. With a net worth of $10.8 billion, you'd think Smith comes from a billionaire family. However, that would be far from the truth. Born in Denver, Colorado, he worked his way up with a sharp mind for science and a hunger to make an impact. After earning his degree in chemical engineering from Cornell University, Smith went on to work for big names like Goodyear Tire, Air Products and Chemicals, and Kraft General Foods. However, the real turning point came in 2000 when he launched Vista Equity Partners, a private equity firm focused entirely on software and tech. Under his leadership as CEO and chairman, the firm delivered an astonishing 30% return on investment over 2 decades, outpacing most of Wall Street and putting Smith in a class of his own. It didn't take long for the world to take notice. In 2016, Private Equity International crowned him Game Changer of the Year. Today, Vista manages more than $100 billion in assets, specializing in software companies that quietly run the digital infrastructure of the global economy. That means every time you swipe a credit card, file taxes, or manage enterprise data, there's a good chance Smith's portfolio is profiting. Away from the boardrooms and headlines, though, Smith lives with his wife, Hope Dworacek Smith, a businesswoman and former model, and their children. Their family leads a private life rooted in philanthropy, tech innovation, and cultural impact. If Smith proved that tech could quietly crown billionaires, David L. Stewart showed that faith, resilience, and bold vision could turn rejection into a $17 billion powerhouse. Number 2. The Stewart family. Born in 1951 in Clinton, Missouri, Stewart grew up during segregation. His parents worked blue-collar jobs, his mother a homemaker, and his father a janitor who also repaired televisions on the side. The family didn't have much, but they did have grit. That grit would one day turn into Worldwide Technology, or WWT, the multi-billion-dollar tech giant Stewart built from the ground up. In 1990, Stewart founded WWT with just a handful of employees and a vision no one saw coming. Today, that vision has become a juggernaut, a global technology services company generating over $17 billion in annual revenue, serving clients like Boeing, Verizon, and the United States government. This isn't just a success story, it's a tech empire that dwarfs many Silicon Valley unicorns. By 2019, Forbes named him one of the 13 black billionaires on Earth. Yet, behind the empire is a deeply rooted foundation: family. Stewart has been married to his wife Thelma for over 40 years. Together, they've raised children who continue to expand the family's influence, not only in business, but through service, education, and philanthropy. Just when you think you've seen every version of billionaire ambition, here's one who cemented his legacy brick by brick. Number 1. The Dangote family. Born in 1957 into one of Nigeria's wealthiest households, Aliko Dangote had access to every advantage. Today, he's the richest man in Africa, with a fortune hovering around $24 billion. It all started with a loan from his uncle of about $3,000 to kickstart a cement trading business in his 20s. That small bet turned into one of the greatest wealth stories in modern African history. What followed was nothing short of empire building. Dangote manufactured cement, sugar, salt, and flour, all staples that fuel economies. Through his massive conglomerate, Dangote Group, he became a cornerstone of West Africa's industrial growth. His factories dot the Nigerian landscape, employing thousands and powering homes, roads, and cities. Then came the real flex, the Dangote Refinery, a $19 billion mega-project. It's Africa's largest oil refinery and petrochemical complex. It's not just reshaping Nigeria's economy, but also positioning Dangote as a serious global player in energy. Beyond cement and steel, though, Dangote is investing in human capital. Through the Dangote Foundation, he's tackled malnutrition, disease, education, and disaster relief. His work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to fight polio and improve public health in Nigeria proves he's not just a businessman, he's a nation builder. As of 2025, he reached even further by laying fiber optic cables across Nigeria in a sweeping bid to boost connectivity and close the digital divide. He's building physical infrastructure and digital futures. This is more than just billionaire wealth. It's nation-shaping, economy-defining, power circle wealth. It is safe to say that Dangote is one of the most economically influential private citizens on the planet. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.